Hello, hello, everybody. How we doing? How we doing? Looks like we got a couple in the chat. Hey, we'll give a couple more minutes for everyone to kind of get started and get settled here. See if we can get anyone else to hop in here, hopefully. See, so far just me in the actual chats. But I hope. Hey, it's me, but not me. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you very much. I hope you like the stream here. Hmm. Anyway, we're gonna give a couple more minutes here. Everyone doing good? Everyone doing all right? Hey, what's going on? Hey, well, thank you guys. Thank you, thank you. Make sure y'all throw a like on there for me. Really helps out the channel, helps me. Appreciate that. Thank you guys. Jonathan, April, what's going on? Young Dashman, there masquerading as someone else. Cool, cool. We'll do about another 2 minutes here and then we will get started. So, thank you all again for showing up. Uh, really excited to get this going and get started with this. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, so super psyched. Are you guys good on the sound? Can you guys hear me okay if I talk like this? Yo, Dash. Yo, hey, sir. Let's get started here just in another couple minutes. Hope everyone's doing all right tonight. I can't. I'm a rookie, so I gotta pull up my gotta pull up and see how many people are watching here on my other screen, which I don't have. So I'm kind of windowing here, just you know, doing great. Coleman, hello. Paul, hey. Perfect. Thank you guys. Appreciate the sound check there. Thank you. Thank you. Let's give about another 60 seconds or so for people to kind of filter in here. And thank you guys so much for showing up. I really, really appreciate it. Up to 7. Hey, let's get them double digits. Let's go. So, yeah, while you guys are here, again, please like, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Appreciate that. That beast, hello, hello. Thank you, thank you. Welcome to the chat. Um, yeah, we're gonna get started in about 30 seconds here. Just wanting to get everyone. Boom, we up to 8. Look at that. Oh man, we're rolling, guys. We can't be stopped. We can't be stopped. I love it. I love it. Perfect. All right. Well, let me just start off by welcoming you to the very first ever live stream. My plan going forward is to stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays, playing video games typically, really just trying to create a space where everyone can hang out, have a great time, interact with the community. Um, trying to be family friendly, so we're gonna make sure the language is good to go so that everyone can participate, everyone can have fun. Yeah, and that'll be Tuesdays and Thursdays. What I'm doing tonight is kind of a special thing. I've been writing a story based on one of the games that I've been playing, so I'm going to kind of start posting that around as well. So the game that I'm playing will be a stream eventually when my writing catches up to where I am in the game, because I'm pretty behind on the writing piece of it. It's a lot harder to write the words than it is to just play the game. So, yeah, so that'll be kind of like a one-off stream that we'll announce ahead of time. Hey, we're going to be playing the Leavening run. So yeah, you guys will be able to take a look at that when that happens too. And that'll probably be like Saturdays or Sundays, kind of just like a weekend bonus stream. So hey, up to 10 double digits. So yeah, the again, throw a like on there, subscribe if you haven't already. I do appreciate you guys. Yeah, we'll stick around for a second afterwards. I love to get your feedback. I'm gonna kind of ignore the chat while we're going, just because I got to kind of get in my groove of everything here. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy the story. Thanks for stopping by. Leavening by Drubius. Edited by Kesselrun. Prologue. Put everything in its place. That tone, he knew it so well. It signaled something, something that worked and niggled at his lizard brain throughout his waking hours. Shaking the sleep from his frame did nothing to abate the incessant beeping. Bzzz. No, this wasn't exactly the same. It was harsher? He quietly tried to place the noise in the still of his modest home. It was dark out. When had he fallen asleep? Bzzz, bzzz. Are you going to turn that thing off, or are you just looking for an excuse to see me get up? The voice was startling. This was out of routine. Normally, he had a few extra minutes to soak in the morning before the woman next to him would mutter and grumble about the unholy hour. Sorry. Normally, you sleep like a Snorlax in the morning. A light chuckle let him know that he was off the hook. It's too early for your witty banter. She said this last part quite dryly, with a hint of Galarian to really sell his inferiority. Why on earth did you set your alarm so early? Who needs to be at the library this early in the morning? Some kind of research that can't wait until the Deduo crows? Finally silencing his alarm, Rai rolled out of bed and reached for his sturdy pants and long sleeve shirt that he wore. Slipping them on in the darkness of the early morning with practiced ease, he reached for his boots, which were never far from his bed. He laughed softly to himself, thinking about how he prepared for emergencies that never came. Why had he woken up so early? He grabbed his phone off the nightstand and checked the time. 0508. Plenty of time to take a brisk walk and clear the sleep from his mind. He gave his companion a kiss, which was thankfully unreturned. The only unholy thing about the mornings was her halitosis. Quietly shutting the door behind him, Rai stepped off his front step into the slightly warm air of Sinnoh. He could see the feathers of dawn behind the mountains and taste the hint of salt on the breeze from the neighboring sea. With a deep inhale and exhale, Rai set off on his walk north out of town. Although his feet seemed to know the way, he felt an odd sense of disconnect from the world around him. Something about Sinnoh just wasn't quite right. And although Rai was a perceptive person, something kept eluding his reach. Autonomous feet briskly taking him to the edge of town, Rai gave his mind to wander and honed in on his unease. It was his alarm. The sound was just wrong. Or it seemed wrong. Maybe he had been mid-dream, something coinciding with his alarm going off? Stopping suddenly, Rai realized he was standing at the edge of the tree line delineating safe from hostile. A twist in his stomach let him know his body had begun to prepare its fight or flight. A light sweat broke out on his forehead, and the muggy air seemed clammy. Gritting his teeth, Rai shook his head. What was wrong with him? He had walked the path to the lakefront many times before, albeit never this early in the pre-dawn. The sound was enough to obliterate any shred of courage Rai was desperately clutching. His body chose flight, and off he went, bursting into movement and startling something off the path with a rustle of the high grass. Cutting left, Rai's heavy boots left imprints in the soft earth, and within seconds the town had dwindled from his sight. After about 45 seconds and a dead sprint followed by a panting, struggling, I really don't want to die run, Rai stopped to try and catch his breath. His forehead sweat had gone to full body, and the thundering in his chest was from exertion rather than fear. Straightening up, he was immediately doubled over from a stitch raging in his ribs. Taking in several deep breaths, he took stock of his surroundings and realized he was almost to the lakefront. A 15-minute walk reduced to mere minutes. A wry chuckle escaped his lips as he shook off the fading effects of adrenaline. The path was deserted, obviously, given the time of day. He could hear the soft hoots and snuffles from a nocturnal Pokemon off the road, but he knew that they would leave him be. Most of the nearby Pokemon had grown fairly accustomed to human encroachment, exceptions notwithstanding. Exceptions like the man outside of the Orbird gate. Old Farmer Kankle had cut too much forest for too long while ignoring the Pokemon Rangers. Repeated warnings had done nothing to deter the old man. One market day, he just didn't show up. Everyone who knew Kankle also knew that he never missed a market day. The old codger was apparently the one who started them after returning home from some conflict overseas. People were worried, and worried people in Twinleaf were prone to talking. In such a small village, nothing escaped even modest scrutiny. Rai shuddered, thinking about how they had farmed the poor old farmer. It took the police nearly an hour to find his body. He had stuffed cotton, dish towels, a variety of things in his ears as deep as he could, and he was in the small, cramped attic above his modest farmhouse. He was covered in several deep lacerations, and his loyal snubble, Duke, was curled up in front of him. Two friends dead, side by side. A gun lay close to his hand, and although it was loaded, it had never been fired. The coroner ruled that Kankle had been killed by Pokemon, most likely Cricketune. Their conclusion was that he had disturbed a nest, and they came back that night for him. The Pokemon nurse said that Duke the Snubble, had suffered incalculable damage and had perished shortly after his master. The disconcerting thing was the beatific smiles on their faces. Both of them appeared to have been at the height of ecstasy when they died. A horrible rictus grin, sometimes cropped up in Rye's head, leering at him with a broken and beaten face. A joyful, never-ending smile, one belied by the violent evidence surrounding it. Rye shuddered at the conjured memory, trying to shake the macabre image. All whilst recollecting, Rye's feet had continued to the lakefront. Verity was a strange lake, one rich with history, legend, and myth. It had always been revered, as far back as Rye could remember. What Rye did not remember was the quiet. Verity was a haven of sorts for Pokemon. They came to drink, to eat, to rut, socialize. What they did not do was be perfectly silent, no matter the hour. Slowing almost instinctively, Rye made his way to the lakefront. As he got closer, he could hear two low, hurried voices. They seemed to be arguing, one pitched much lower with a measured, more cultured, almost, than the other. Rye squatted down and crept closer to the voices, straining to capture whispered snatches of conversation. Was all a mistake? We're chasing something that simply does not exist. A rough accent, high pitched and worried. Make no mistake, this is the time and the place. The second voice was much more under control, modulated and under no duress. The higher, more strident voice considered this for a moment before weakly responding. If you say so, I still think that our cause is better served elsewhere. There are many of us ready and in position to strike. Rye realized that the voice had pitched lower and lower, and he crept closer, pushing the grass a little more and stepping on a stick. Sneasel, now! The controlled voice, this time louder and commanding. Pain blossomed in Rye's stomach as the Sneasel that had been stalking him disemboweled him with one shunk of its claw. The feline Pokemon stepped from behind him, wicked foreclaws glinting in the early rays. Snee, it whispered to him softly, nearly apologetically, as it stalked back towards its master. Clutching his stomach, Rye knew that it was bad. Very, very bad. He started to feel cold as the warmth of his life force poured around his hands. Keep pressure, he thought to himself. He could taste the copper rising in the back of his throat. Who are you? Is what he meant to ask, but with a crimson pop, all that came out was a bubble of blood and saliva. The world tilted suddenly as he slumped onto his side, still desperately holding his ravaged abdomen together. Well, it seems we've caught an interloper. Eavesdropping rarely has such consequences, but it can't go unpunished, can it? Although he spoke like a villain from a stage play, the voice was devoid of emotion. No gloating, no Rye knowing, certainly no remorse. Rye's vision slowly grew tighter as the dawn grew into its full beauty. A blurry silhouette broke the beautiful palette and lowered itself in front of him. Well, the voice said, the good news is, you won't die. False light leaves you hovering on the brink, but you will survive. This bit of news was delivered nearly monotone, as if someone were reading it from a book, merely a transfer of information. However, you do need to tell me who you are working for if you don't want me to finish the job. The soft click of a safety, the loud k'chk of a round being chambered. This guy had a gun? That was odd. Typically only police carried firearms, and the odd farmer, like old man Kankle, his brain made the odd connection, in order to protect against particularly aggressive Pokemon. Nobody had been killed by a gun on Sinnoh in decades at least. Another crimson bubble greeted the man's question. Maybe the fear in Rye's eyes said the words for him, but the man seemed satisfied with the answer. He tisked softly. You really were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. How cliché. The first hint of emotion was amusement, and at Rye's expense, no less. A cold fury ignited deep within the pit of his stomach. Nevertheless, I can't have you running off and telling every one of your dear village of friends about our little encounter. We're not yet ready to show ourselves to the world. A flash of red, and the Sneasel's returned to its mottled green-gray ball. An explosion of white revealed a fresh horror. Now, Golbat here is going to take some things from you. Surely you don't want to remember this awful experience. Golbat is going to help you forget. The blue winged Pokemon turned towards Rai and opened its mouth wide, and then wider still. 2 points reflecting the early dawn showed its fangs. It waddled toward Rai in a way he almost considered comical until the implications set in. He had been attacked, nearly killed, really, and now a Pokemon was going to feast on his memories? Who was this emotionless monster? Why had his alarm gone off so early this morning? Rai rolled onto his back, the indigo of pre-dawn now almost fully receded from view. To his left, the brightening sky signaled full dawn. To his right, he could barely make out the last star to bow before the sun. It shone bright and true, nary a twinkle. Suddenly the Golbat filled his view, fangs almost delicately resting on his forehead. Its fetid breath washed over him, triggering a gag reflex and shooting pains through his shredded gut. With an explosion of water, something huge shattered the placid lake with frightening speed, splaying glittering droplets into the crimson sunlight. The Golbat spun around, dragging 2 long gashes through Rai's forehead. A huge red Gyarados loomed in the water, a seemingly endless body rising 1, 2, 3 stories out of the lake. A mighty trumpeting roar announced the giant sea serpent's entrance. Water cascaded from its shining scales as it surveyed the scene below. Golbat, poison! Before the man could finish, the water around Gyarados began to rise, forming cyclones of water that whipped around the lake into a frenzy. Whatever else the man had to say was lost in the now roaring wind and sudden peals of thunder. With another bellowing roar, the atrocious Pokemon blasted the shore with 4 giant cyclones. The more diminutive man was blown off his feet, soaring past Rai and out of sight. The cool man covered his eyes and turned slightly away. Mustering the effort, Rai was able to focus and see that the man's Golbat was taking the brunt of the attack. Maw opened and wings spread. After a moment, the tempest calmed and the Golbat dropped from exhaustion. The man sighed and drew out a Pokeball Rai was unfamiliar with, the second different type the man had produced that morning. He nonchalantly tossed it, and with a loud, buzzing whoosh, the Gyarados simply disappeared. It's unfortunate I had to use my only one on you, but I'm sure others are close to discovering the technology. I can replace it soon enough. Rai didn't know much about Pokemon, but he did know that Pokeballs were not normally that color, and they didn't just return to your hand after a throw. Didn't you need to weaken Pokemon first? Didn't a strong Pokemon have a chance to break Pokeballs? He barely had time to consider these inconsistencies before a large, bipedal dragon appeared in front of the man. Ah, it's too early for you to be here. A throaty, powerful roar greeted the man's protestations. A pink glow began on the Pokemon's shoulder, and although Rai screwed his eyes shut tight, the rose light diffused through his eyelids. Soon that was all he saw. With a strangled "Ah!" even the mystery man faded from his view as Rai was enveloped in a pink cloud. Zzz, zzz, zzz. Rai reached over and silenced his alarm. 7:15. Enough time to shower and have a coffee press before work. His wife's soft snores greeted him as he rubbed the sleep from his eyes. He reached over for his bathrobe hanging on a peg and slid his feet into his slippers. With a deep yawn and a loud, popping stretch, Rai's dream was soon forgotten. He had a busy day ahead of him, and he couldn't spare the time to dwell on it. Thank you. Well, thank you guys, everyone, for showing up. Looks like we got 13 people. Yes, that Cricketune and his murderous mustache. 14 people. Awesome. J.R. Tolkien, thank you, Unclean One. Appreciate that. This is awesome. Thank you, Dash. Nick, no problem, man. Very happy for you to be here. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you. Please like, please subscribe if you haven't already. Chances are, if you're here, you are subscribed. So thank you very, very much. If you want to continue to support the channel, obviously, please tune in to my live streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8:30. Um, thank you, Jonathan. Tune in to live streams 8:30 Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're gonna be having a great time playing some games. I think we might start off with some Halo Infinite. So thank you, Andy. Thank you, Unclean One, on your 15. Appreciate that. Thank you, Paul. So all of you guys that are Patreon subscribers, tomorrow chapter one will be available to anyone who is on the Patreon. You can find me at patreon.com/drubiusdeus, just like my YouTube channel name. Plenty of tiers there. You got $3 tier if you want to be an advanced reader. You get the chapter before anyone does on the internet. Um, $5 tier, you can be basically the editor tier is you get the first draft that I send to Kessel Run, who is my editor. So you get to see what she sees. And then the last tier, the $10 tier, is creative process, I think I called it, where I just type and I send it, and you guys get to see how the sausage gets made. So I really appreciate all of you guys who have already been to the Patreon. Again, it is just extra support for me. I just really love doing this, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys. So yeah, if you really are super into it, you can get the first chapter tomorrow morning. If you are a $3, the lowest tier will get you the chapter one tomorrow. Kind of get to know Rye a little better, get to see more about the world that we're in, kind of what his take on the whole Pokemon thing is. But yeah, I'm just super psyched about it. Even just reading it to you guys got me super excited to read again. Oh, what's up? Okay, gotcha. Thank you, Austin. Um, but yeah, so yeah, again, and then chapter two will be the next Saturday. So I'm gonna try and release a chapter every Saturday. You guys will get the yeah, thank you. I saw that. Yep. Um, if you guys are a $5 subscriber or a $10 subscriber, you will get all the way through chapter two tomorrow, which is as far as I've written. So again, it's about 10,000 words. I hope you guys like it. We are right in the time that I wanted to have. I hope I didn't read too fast. If you guys were able to understand me there. So yeah. I mean, I got nothing else going on. I was going to kind of keep it open for another few minutes. I don't know if you guys have any questions or anything, or um, if you want to check out, I'll drop my link to the Patreon here in the chat again. Do not feel obligated, but if you are so inclined, I won't say no. I am not playing tonight. No, I'm not going to play tonight. I think this is the only thing I'm going to do. I just really wanted to kind of test OBS and test the streaming kind of what's going on here. I literally just got all this stuff like yesterday. My favorite Pokemon is definitely Sandshrew, and then Alolan Sandslash. So I know that's weird, but I just really like the Alolan variant because I love ice types, and Sandshrews always been my favorite. So that would have to be it. Fortunately, unless I really do a lot of some underground shenanigans with our protagonist, we probably won't have a Sandshrew in the squad. Um, but that's okay. It's cool. I The Nuzlocke piece of it. Oh yeah, let me talk about that too real quick while I have some of you here still. So what I'm writing my story based off of is Pokemon Shining Pearl, which is a remake of an older Pokemon game, basically. And Nuzlocke is like a series of rules that you put your onto how Lucario is boss. Is a series of rules you kind of put on your file to allow you to kind of make the game harder. Pokemon is obviously a game designed for 10-year-olds. So, it's not exactly the height of gaming difficulty or anything. So Nuzlocke kind of just allows you to, um, make it hard, a little bit harder. You can only catch one Pokemon per area. If a Pokemon faints in battle, you have to basically release it or like kill it. You put it in a box and you can't ever use it again. So playing the Nuzlocke got me just kind of thinking about what that would look like. I found some stories written by other people online, and they weren't great. So thought I would just you know see how I could do, and I think I did pretty well, and I really like it, and I'm super excited to keep writing on it, and I think it just kind of adds like a whole new dynamic to Pokemon, with actual consequences. You know what I mean? Like in the show and the anime and stuff, like Ash is constantly getting zapped and never dying. and this kind of allows us to actually put some realism, if you will, into it, I guess, for lack of a better word, as real as Pokemon can get, I suppose. Charmander's a good one too. Get that Kanto. Oh, I love you too. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. I love all y'all. So yeah, guys. Unless there's something else going on or any other questions or anything, I think we're going to head on out of here. So thank you guys so much. Just make sure that there's nothing else I missed in the chat here. Oh, I really need a second monitor. All right, cool, guys. Very cool. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope to see you all. If you can catch any of my live streams, again, the live streams are going to be Tuesday and Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Uh, and I think we're going to start with some Halo, like I said. So if you play Halo and you want to play with me, let me know. I probably know you in real life because there's like four of us. Ethan, what's up, man? Thanks for stopping by, dude. I hope you like the story. Hardcore Nuzlocke or normal Nuzlocke. So I do add a couple extra rules into my Nuzlocke. So I don't ever level my Pokemon higher than the next gym leader's ace. So for instance, the first gym leader, bye guys, thank you. First gym leader's top level is like 14. No one goes above 14 in my team. So I will take them out or like undo, like basically um not allow them to grow. Second rule is that in gym leader battles, I only bring in the same amount of Pokemon that they have. So if it's a 2-on-2 or 3-on-3, I will text you, Austin. Thank you. Appreciate you stopping by, man. Then I will only bring in that many. I also don't use any items inside battle, and I um don't use there's one other rule on there that I'm just missing right now. But yeah, I do a little bit more hardcore rules with it typically. Um, it's and the Switch is a little bit more difficult because there's no randomizer or anything, so I'm just kind of stuck like running into Bidoof over and over again. Oh, I do the no dupes clause. That's the other one I'm thinking of. So if I hit like a Bidoof on Route 1 and then I hit a Bidoof on Route 2, then not yet, Ethan, but we're gonna get there, man. We're gonna get there. But yeah, I don't count that as my encounter per route if I hit a duplicate. So just because and that's cool because it forces me to use different stuff too. I actually have a Cricketune on my team right now in my run, and I also just lost my first Pokemon in the first gym. So a little sneak peek there for you guys who are still with it. Yeah. So hope you guys like it. Again, we're coming up on 9 p.m. here, so I'm gonna wrap it up. I've been going for about a half hour, and I don't want this to be too long. So yeah, see you guys Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Please hop in, please chat, say hello. Looking really forward to seeing all you guys there. Thank you so much.